Okay, we're going to revisit putting a keyboard on the screen triggered from the PLC to read barcodes, something like a keyboard wedge. And we're going to do that with a little bit different way. We used the built-in keyboard before, and this time we're going to use a custom keyboard. So I'm going to talk to you first about the custom keyboard. What you do, first thing, we're going to build a custom keyboard. So you go down to custom keypads, and then you click add, and I'll add one here, and you would add a QWERTY keyboard, and then you can go in and you can strip it down and you can customize it any way you want. I've already done one, so we're not going to keep this, but you can strip this down and customize it. You just have to be careful with the text validation square that's over the top of the data entry, data edit box, and then also the caption square. So both of those you have to keep in there. But you can get rid of all the colors and the keys and everything, and just have the entry. It's not bad at all. So I'm going to delete this spare here, and I'll show you the one that's in there. Let's see. So this one is basically I copied and pasted from an example that Nick had, but I changed the colors and transparent the captions and text validation so that they wouldn't be in the so that they wouldn't show up too bad on a light gray keypad. Um, Also, you can actually copy and paste. So when you copy and paste in, you can just copy this QWERTY keyboard and drop it into your group 0 on custom keypads. So that will get you your custom small keypad. And then to use that, it's going to be somewhat similar to what we did earlier when we used the built-in keypad. So the first thing you do is, if you go to page 0, I got rid of the data edit box and just put a text, basically a text data display box, or a text display box. So that's all that is. And in the text display box is the barcode in, and so it's just going to display from that variable is all it is. This box is actually not even necessary if you didn't want it. You could just, when you triggered the pop-up to read the barcode, you could just have that be the only thing. It wouldn't be any problem at all. I just got this box in here just for convenience to see what we've done. Okay, so the next thing is we've got that in. We also have to add a subroutine. The subroutine in this case needs to be in the global subroutines because you're going to be calling it from the alarm section. So you've got to put it in the global subroutine. So I look in the global subroutine group and I added in, again, this is basically from Nick Infelice, his edit variable, what he used, and except we changed the data type, or the data variable, to be the barcode in, which we're using here. We also got rid of the caption because we don't want that to show up. So that's in global subroutine. So next, to use that, let's go to alarms, and you'll see that it's the same alarm I had set up earlier. And so you set up an alarm, and the barcode trigger is right out of variable mapping. If I look at variable mapping, barcode trigger from the PLC side, which is going to be the alarm, is going to trip the variable in the touchscreen side, or the HMI side, barcode trigger. So let's go back to alarms, and so you see there's the trigger that's going to do it. I don't have any alarm code in there. I'm leaving that blank. And then again, the key is uncheck the pop-up and acknowledge. You don't want to see anything when this triggers. Now, you're also going to have to add an event, or events and actions. So if we look over here, what we're going to do is we're going to call that subroutine that's down here in global subroutines. So if I look here, I pull down the call subroutine, and then I add subroutine group 0. That's the subroutine group 0 dot the subroutine that I want to run. So if I look at that, it's subroutine group 0 dot sample source. So that will trigger, when this triggers, that will run that subroutine that's in the subroutine group 0. It will run this one, which calls QWERTY keypad 0, which is this keypad that we've entered. Okay, so now let's look back over to the PLC. Really, we haven't changed anything in that, but let's look at it really quick. On the PLC side, we just have our code. We're going to do just trigger a time delay to give us basically a one-shot pulse that's going to trigger the barcode trigger, which again, if you remember back in the HMI side, the barcode trigger triggers the B code trigger in the HMI in the variable mapping. Barcode trigger triggers the B code trigger, which was in the alarm. So when that trips, that's going to make the keypad pop up, we think. So down here I've also got a watch window set up so that we can see data coming back. So let's try it. Let's simulate, run with NA Simulator. Okay, so we're set up. Let's make this small so that we can see. Make our screen over here a little bit out of the way. Now we're going to trip this. That should do our alarm, which trips our barcode. Boom, that came up. So if you were reading a barcode, you would barcode might go in, and then it would end in a carriage return, so it should just enter, and boom, the barcode's there. Let's look at our watch window, and it came into the PLC side as well. So this is an example of doing remote triggering from the PLC to read a barcode with much nicer than the standard keyboard. And again, you could get rid of this data display altogether. You wouldn't actually even need it. All you'd really need is that that pop-up keypad. And so, so this is an example, and I hope that helps. Thank you.